Hello, dear one. You've arrived at the Indigo Rose Lounge. I'm your host, Alyce Dylan. We are here as Indigo's spiritually perceptive, EAP, empath, highly sensitive people, and the list goes on. Whatever our label or diagnosis, neurodivergent ADHD. Gosh, there's a list of really a lot of them. And this is the Indigo Lounge where you are celebrated. It is understood that you are on the leading edge of the evolution of mankind. You are a precious soul, and if you've made it to here, you are one in a billion. And congratulate yourself and celebrate yourself. And all of your people celebrate you too. There is a quote that is engraved above the doorway of the Temple of Delphi. And it's very simply to know thyself. And this is an ancient temple. So the idea that this is a new, it's a new exploration to know thyself is not true. Humanity has been striving to know itself through time. Who are we? Why are we here? What are we here to do? Who made us? These are all questions, some of them outside of ourselves. There are also beautiful quotes that speak to the world or the universe being enfolded within us, that we are miraculous cosmic beings. And very few of us ever get to truly explore our miraculous nature. Why? Because we get bogged down with the stuff of being human, the daily grind of drama and superfluous nonsense. And this is one of the areas where indigo shines. Not at first, because it's like being in a river downstream of a hurricane, where there's lots of flotsam and jetsam lying about on the water, and there's lots of floating garbage that we're trying to survive our way through. As an empath, as an intuitive, we bump up against all this garbage floating down the river, and we feel burdened by it, and we feel like we're in a washing machine being spun about. And that's only when we are identified and when our awareness is solely within our physical human experience. Once we elevate our awareness to our true selves, which is our spirit selves, the eternal element of us that has existed before and will continue on forever, the spirit of ourselves is the force that made this human experience possible, gave life to this human experience. And for indigos and spiritually perceptive, that is the true self that is guiding us through our days. That spirit self is the one telling us what's really going on, or at least it is through that element of ourselves that we are perceiving what is real in the environment around us. That spirit self is a couple of layers of frequency higher than us, and throughout history, the human capacity has in general not allowed human beings to access that spirit self unless in exceptional circumstances. But nowadays, in the last 200 years at least, the indigos, or those of us on the leading edge of the evolution of humanity, have had access to reference, to integrate, to communicate directly with our spirit selves. So we may have been born this way, and that's when we call ourselves indigo, or we may have had this capacity awakened within us sometime in our lives. Often when people take up a religious or spiritual practice, that they pray and meditate daily, some people even take up an alpha meditation that they truly love, like gardening. Gardening is a gateway drug, people. Alpha meditation that creates a basis of joy, and they can start to flourish into their spiritual awareness. Any form of alpha meditation that allows you to keep your physical humanness, keep your human body, physical body focused and directed, and then your mind self, your spirit self can connect with your true self. Of course, at night, when people sleep, the awareness shifts back up to the spirit self, and the spirit self provides healing and connection, what we call theta meditation, to even five sense people, of course. But that's when the body is asleep, the body's out of the picture, mind is quiet, and then the connection with the spirit self happens, and the spirit delivers insight, intuition through dreams sometimes it's physical healing. All right, so know thyself. So yes, it is important to understand that we are human beings spiritual beings, rather having a human experience. But this human experience is one that we should navigate with care and dexterity. It's a good thing to understand things like the neuroscience of it all, why we do the things we do in this human experience. Why do we have the impulses we have? We're here for a reason. Our spirit selves have manifested these human bodies in order to have a human experience because it was a good idea. It was a good place to come, to know joy, to know learning through play, to know love, to experience all of the cosmic laws of the universe in tangible form with clear consciousness, to be able to understand things in this human experience that we never would have understood from any of our previous manifestations, or how in our future life experience it might be more difficult to understand energetic realities when we don't have a physical demonstration of it before our eyes. Really basic is you throw a ball at a wall, ball bounces back. There's a whole bunch of intelligence in that one motion. So there are a lot of things that can be understood, that can be delved, that can be, wow. We all know the example of the man sitting under the apple tree, and suddenly gravity is discovered or understood better. Or maybe not, depending on where you are with that. Gosh, hasn't so much of history become so questionable now? We really are in a time, I find it quite exciting, really. Some of it's lunatic, but the idea that the world that was presented to me in my school days might not be the world I live in is an exciting idea. Oh, really? There's more to that? Good. It's not scary. It just makes room for more information, and we do so love truth. As indigos, we love truth. The sweet savor, the nectar of truth. Beautiful, inspiring, energizing, uplifting. Oh, can you imagine a time where humanity lives immersed in truth, finding truth, investigating truth, delving truth, consulting with one another, sitting and saying, I found this truth. What do you think? Won't that be great? We've just gone through such a time of truth being the enemy of the thems, the shiny bums, that it will be lovely to live in a world where truth is once again upheld, revealed, and loved. I digress. Let's get back to it. Know thyself. So who is thyself? What is thyself? Well, you are a human being right now. You're being human. And this human beingness does have a lot of interesting programming that you can delve and dissect and understand. Human psychology, neuroscience. We can understand so much about this human experience. And yet this human experience is not you. You are the spirit that manifested this human experience to those parents in that line to that life. You are that. You are that. You are the spirit that will. You are the spirit that did that. And as that spirit, you are capable of amazing things. You are unlimited. If you can dream it, you can do it. And I promise you that. I know that with everything in my mind, body, and soul. When we identify as human beings solely from a human perspective, then we can get lost in the weeds, because then we are living in a limited universe with limitations, and yes, this thing is heavy, and no, I cannot pick it up. I am limited. Okay, but if I am a spiritual being having a human experience, who knows what I'm capable of doing? Who knows what we can achieve? And so there is a wonderful vista of exploration of self that will come next. But the know thyself as the human experience, that's also a beautiful journey. Where do all these hang-ups come from? Why do I have this emotional wall? Why do I have that emotional experience? Where does this? Where does that? Am I neurotic because I'm not getting enough magnesium and my nerves are frayed? Finding out those truths are equally valuable in this human experience. It's a wonderful thing to delve. One needs to be careful of analysis paralysis, that we are onions, and except almost never-ending onions, that we can delve and delve and delve and delve and delve, and we can find out new things every day and still never get to the heart of it. Whereas when we elevate to our spiritual perception, we can understand our human experience in a different way. We have a clearer vision. We have a clearer insight. And we also know that while the spirit self, our true self, chose to manifest to these people in this age and these parents in this life path, because of what we could learn and discover and be here, we are not limited to that manifestation. We are not these limited beings. We are eternal beings. We are having an eternal experience. But it's interesting. It's certainly interesting to remain aware of our influences, to know where our programming comes from, to understand what people are trying to convince us of, to see their agendas interplaying, interlocking, and to find for ourselves what is true. Now, I'm not a political person at all, and I don't have any interest in politics as it is today, party politics, that is. I think leaders are important, and I think ethical leaders are important. But beyond that, I don't really get involved with the politics too much. I did, however, hear one politician say something the other day that perked me up and made my tail feathers all a quiver. And that was that politics was about peace and love. And what he meant was that people who govern should get on with governing so that everybody else can get on with peace and love. And I thought that was the most insightful, most brilliant, most magnificent thing I had ever heard. And if I lived in that country, I would vote for that person just for that quote. Because really, I think there's a lot of truth to that. That as long as we go on finding ourselves, it will be far easier for the human beings that are alive to discover themselves, to really know themselves in an environment where there is peace and love. Because all of this other distraction, this noise, this ongoing conflict here and battle there, feels like a sideshow. It feels like time and process, and some of it's necessary, and some of it's karmic, and some of it's whatever, but really doesn't feel like our purpose here. Although it does tie well with the evolution of humanity, that in this time we are going through the great cleansing, and this is just the edge of it. We're going through a time where life as it is will be made better. And I want you to really know that. Know that. In this dance between love and fear, we need to know that love is on our side, and we need to be focused loveward always. Always. Love is always the answer, no matter what the question. All right, darlings, go and be your magnificent, beautiful self. And if there are things you are still battling with, please find me on one of the platforms and ask the questions. Reach out, ask the questions. I will be happy to answer anything that is distracting you from being your authentic, beautiful, most loving self. Love, always.